Good morning, 5P. Today is the 24th of June, Wednesday. Okay, today we'll be going through the homework you have done for yesterday. This activity that you see, as well as the page 3 and page 4 of your water SIN. Okay, yesterday you're supposed to go through all the videos as well as to play around with an ice cube to see how it melts, as well as to observe what happens to a droplet of water on a plate after some times around 10 to 20 minutes. Okay, this activity you can't find it in your activity book at all because I've taken this from the foundation book. I think it's quite fun to do and something you can do at home. So you can't find this in the activity book at all. This one is just on Classcake, so you can only do it on Classcake. You can't do it on hard copy. However, for the SIN later, you will also be on the hard copy water SIN. So make sure that you have done it on the hard copy as well. Okay, so before I start, just want to let you know let's just talk about the review test a bit. Okay, review test, I have to put it on Tuesday. Okay, so in case some of you might not be around on Tuesday, we can still do it another day. There's still time. So just to let all of you know, next Tuesday will be the review test. We'll cover everything until cells. Okay, no electricity, no water, just the three topics in term 1, which is covered under your review 1, plus cells. Okay, so cell will be the last topic for the review test. Right, so I hope you have tried this out. It's quite fun. Please try it out. If you haven't tried it out, please try it out again today. All right, so let's write down what we know from all the videos and what we have learned from all the videos that we have saw that we have seen. Okay, so water exists in 3 states. Okay, I know water exists in 3 states. What are the 3 states? Let's start from the solid state, which is like your ice. Okay, there are only 3 states that you have learned in P4. Of course, we don't talk about plasma here. We just talk about solid, liquid, and gas. Okay, these are the states. Water is not a state. Ice is not a state. Steam is not a state. Okay, water, ice, steam. These are the names of the substance where it is at. For example, solid state, liquid state, or gaseous state. So there are only 3 states of water: solid, liquid, and gas. Same as any other matter. All metals have these 3 states. So at a particular temperature, they may exist in only one state only. Okay, usually speaking, okay, commonly speaking. So water can exist in solid, liquid, and okay, last year in P4, we know we talked about solid, liquid, and gas state. However, for this year, we would like you to expand on word gas to become gaseous. The last time we saw this word called gaseous is when we are talking about gaseous exchange in humans, as well as gaseous exchange in plants through the stomata. Okay, so you can write gas state. It's not wrong to say gas state, but we want to introduce you to the word called gaseous state. Basically, it's the same as gas state. Okay, so these 2 words have the same meaning, so you can call it a gas state, you can call it a gaseous state. In P4, we only talk about solid, liquid, gas. But if we use a proper term, it's actually called gaseous state. So instead of writing gas state, maybe you should write gaseous state from now on. Okay, so try to write with the EOUS behind. All right. Okay, let's continue. So if you have tried using an ice cube for the activity, you realize it's quite fun and it melts actually very fast. So for those who came back for face-to-face, you realize we did something more. We don't just melt it on the plate, we put it in our hands and we see how fast it melts compared to the one on the plate. Okay, so you have an ice cube. Okay, make sure that you read the question properly. I'm talking about the ice cube. The ice cube is in the solid state. Remember, there's only 3 states. Okay, the ice cube is in the solid state. Observe the ice cube for changes in size and shape. Okay, some of you never talk about the changes in size and the shape. Okay, so we have 2 sentences here. What do we observe about the changes in size and shape? So let's talk about the size. The ice cube became smaller. Okay, so the ice cube became smaller. This is talking about the size, how the size changed. The shape also changes. The shape of ice cube changes. Okay. Okay, let's make it big. Okay, so you realize that if you have done the experiment, you realize that the ice cube actually becomes smaller. The shape of the ice cube also changes, and this process is what we call melting. Okay, so this is the first process you learned yesterday. The process is called melting. Okay, so some of you tell me, yeah, the ice melts. Yes, correct, the ice melts, but tell me about your observation. okay, that the size becomes smaller, that the shape is also changing. So this process is called melting. So after a while, the ice melts. What other things do you observe other than the ice cube that is melting? You will also see liquid water. Okay, I'm okay if you write just water is fine. Okay, water commonly is referred to the liquid state, not the ice state. Okay, we don't look at ice and say it's water. Yes, it's water in solid state, which is called ice. Same for steam. We look at steam or water vapor, we don't say this is water. We call it this is water in gaseous state. Either we call it steam or water vapor because they are at two different temperature. So besides the ice, I can see liquid water because they are all melted. So let's fill in the blanks over here. The ice cube changed from the solid state. Okay, it started from the solid state and then became the liquid state. And this is what we call melting. Okay, let's put it down. So this is called melting. So whenever a solid changes into a liquid, okay, it is actually melting. Right, over here we still have not talked about how it gains heat, how it loses heat. We'll look at it as we go through more detail about the topic. But if from the video you realize that for an object to change from solid to liquid, it must gain heat and then it melts. Okay, when you gain heat, three things can happen: the temperature increase, uh it goes through a change in state, or it expands. Okay, similarly, if you lose heat, three things can happen too: the temperature drops, it contracts, or it also goes through a change in state. Okay, so for ice cube to melt, it actually gains heat from the surrounding, and then it changes, and then it goes through a change in state from the solid to the liquid state. Okay, and this process is called melting. Okay, some of you never read the instructions properly for part B. Part B is not like continuation from part A. Part B is a totally a different experiment. You're using maybe your fingers to place a drop of water into a container or a plate. Okay, that's my instruction to you on SLS. You're using just one drop of water and you put it on a plate, and then you look and observe if anything happens to it after some time, like 10 to 20 minutes, and write down observation. Again, I'm looking for the change in size. Okay, so if you did it, you realize that the water droplet, or for here I'll just write it became smaller. Okay, some will tell me is evaporated, correct? Okay, nothing wrong with that, that's the process, but I'm asking you for the change in size. So the water droplet became smaller, that's the first thing. Or you can also say it is and disappeared. If some of you waited long enough, you realize that it disappeared. Right, so it became smaller and in the end and disappeared in the end. Okay, for this part you don't have to do correction because you don't have the hard copy for this. This is just an activity to be done at home. Right, so when you put a drop of water on the plate and after a while when you come back you realize it becomes smaller, or maybe it completely disappeared at into the thin air. Why did it happen? Because the water droplet changed from the liquid state, because it was a liquid, it was a droplet of water. So the water changed from liquid state to the gaseous state, which is the gas state. Okay, and this process is called evaporation. This is something that we will look at it when we come back to school. Okay, so going from the liquid state to the gaseous state is something we call evaporation. In this case, it can also be called boiling. When we boil water, it turns into steam. It's also from liquid to gaseous state, but in this case, we are not heating the water up to 100 degrees, so it's just evaporation. Okay, so same thing like melting. uh, when water is evaporating, it gains heat from the surrounding, and as it gains heat, the temperature increase. Okay, for evaporation the temperature don't really increase, but for water to evaporate, it gains heat from the surrounding, it undergoes a change in state from liquid to gas, and then after that it becomes water vapor, and when the wind blows, the water vapor get carried away. All right, so conclusion: water can change. You can see that through melting it changes from solid to liquid state, through evaporation it changes from liquid to gaseous state. So water can change from one state to another. All right, so it depends. You Here we're talking about gaining heat, so it's from solid to liquid melting is from liquid to gaseous evaporation. We can also lose heat and freeze, which is solid to liquid. We can also lose heat and condense, gaseous to liquid. And we'll explore all these 5 processes when we come back to school. Right? So let's go on. Okay. This is your SIN, page 3 and page 4. You need to do this on hard copy, so please do this on hard copy. So through the videos, you have learned quite a bit already, the 3 states of water. So please highlight with me, water can exist in solid, liquid, or gaseous state. Okay, try to use the word gaseous. Ice and snow are examples of water in the solid state. Okay, the S is given to you, so all you need is OLID. Okay, snow and ice are solid state. The water we drink and use every day is called the liquid state. All right, and water vapor, which we have learned in air and respiratory system, and steam. Okay, water vapor and steam are what we call gaseous state. So again, try to spell it gaseous and not just gas. Although it's not exactly wrong, but we want to use the proper terms. So gaseous state. All right. So next, how does water change its temperature or state? Okay, how does water change temperature? It has to absorb heat or lose heat. How does water change from one state to the next? It can either again absorb heat or lose heat. Another word for absorb is gain heat. Okay, so water can change temperature or change state by gaining or losing heat. Like just now when it's melting, it's gaining heat from the surrounding, changing it from solid to liquid state. Same thing for evaporation, it's gaining heat from the surrounding, changes from liquid to gaseous state. On the other hand, let's say you talk about melting, talk about freezing. When you put water into the freezer, heat is being lost by the water, and when heat is lost, it undergoes a change in state, becoming from liquid becoming solid. Okay, when the temperature goes as low as 0 degrees Celsius. Right, so we will not talk about freezing now. We'll be talking about freezing on Friday. So Friday you'll be looking forward to get this part done for your SIN. Now we go on to the next part. Okay, so now we go on to melting. So this melting is yesterday's lesson, from solid to liquid. Okay, so when it undergoes a change in state from solid to liquid, we call it melting. Okay, it can be for water, it can be for any other matter. Okay, water in the solid state can change to liquid state when it is heated. Okay, so when you heat up a solid or heat up water in solid form, which is ice basically. Okay, so maybe we just highlight this part and write ice over here so it's easy to see. So water in solid state is called ice or snow. Okay, but since we use ice here, we just write ice. So ice can change into liquid state into water when it is heated. Okay, you can either apply heat or the heat from the surrounding can actually melt it. When ice is taken out of freezer, it gains heat. Okay, always tell me whether it gains heat or lose heat first. Do not tell me straight away it melts or it freezes. When ice is taken out of the freezer, it gains heat. So when it gains heat, its temperature will increase. Remember what I said just now? When something gains heat, only 3 things can happen. Okay, it can either increase in temperature, it can either change in state, or it can expand. Okay, like what you did last year for pitch before heat. Okay, so when it gains heat, the temperature increase, and when the temperature increases to 0 degrees, ice changes into water. Therefore, you have a change of state here. So when it's in the freezer, it's actually very low, it's actually below 0 degrees. But once you take it out, as the temperature of the ice increases to 0 degrees, this is an important point here. Later we'll talk about this. Ice changes into water, and that's why it starts melting. Okay, this process is called melting. All right. The temperature at which pure ice melts. Okay, let's say we talk about pure ice. That means made from pure water. The temperature at which pure ice melts, that means changing from a solid state to a liquid state, is actually 0 degrees Celsius. Ice only melts at 0 degrees Celsius. It won't melt at 5 degrees Celsius. It will melt at minus 5 degrees Celsius. It will only melt at um 0 degrees Celsius. So this is important, and we have a name for this 0 degrees Celsius. It's called the melting point. Only at the melting point then the ice will start melting. Okay, it must reach this melting point, it must cross this melting point for the to melt. Okay, so like what I said, 0 degrees is the melting point of ice. Okay, so we say it's melting point of ice, it's not melting point of water. Water already melted. Okay, so you talk about ice, the melting point is 0 degrees Celsius. It cannot melt at -1 degree Celsius. It needs to hit 0 degrees or beyond, then it will melt. Anything below 0 degrees, it will stay as solid ice. Okay, so 0 degrees is the point where ice starts melting, so we call it the melting point. So the melting point of ice is 0 degrees Celsius, and when it melts, the temperature remains constant. Okay, this one we'll explore it on Friday on it with another activity. So realize as the ice melts, right, the temperature stays the same. Okay, temperature will stay the same when it undergoes a change in state. After all the ice melts becomes liquid water, then the temperature will go from 0 to 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 to 5, so on and so forth. Okay, so but when the ice is melting, the temperature stays the same at melting point, which is at 0 degrees Celsius. This one will do an activity to show you, okay, as close as to perfect case, because we don't have pure ice, we only have ice made using tap water, okay, which is not totally pure. Right, so a few things you learn here. You learn about melting. You learn that melting is a process where you gain heat, and then the solid ice will undergo a change in state from solid to liquid, and there's a particular temperature of ice which is at 0 degrees Celsius, and that's what we call melting point. Only when the temperature of ice is at melting point or beyond, then it will start to melt, and as it melts, the temperature will stay constant until the whole ice has melted to form liquid water, and then the temperature will increase. All right, so this is your homework yesterday. This is the video for the answers. Make sure you have done all your correction. Make sure you start revising on your review tests, a few topics at a single on a day, and then the review test again will be on next Tuesday when you come back. All right, so with that, I'll see you on Friday.